Welcome to the messy middle. Our lazy co-host Frank hasn't done a intro yet.
That is not true. Welcome to Messy Middle, when everything's messy and you don't know what you want to do.
That's
And
definitely AI.
it's unmessy. Middle.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'll do it. Stay tuned. It will happen.
I don't know what really has occurred between last week and this week, but
Mhm.
somehow
I
the
feel better.
chemicals in my brain today, I feel okay. I feel good. Like I'm excited about something,
Mhm.
and I I mean we're discussing the tipping point, and which is funny. No one really knew what the tipping point was until like the actual contextual discussion and
I tell
mention
you,
of
this
the
is a
tipping.
quiz. I don't really know what the tipping point was until choice number one. The book was written.
Whose whose book? Whose
But-
book? Yeah, exactly. Who? Malcolm Glad. It was Malcolm Gladwell, and it was so funny. It's like I'm like, well, I remember people were talking about tipping point way before Gladwell, but he
Mhm.
like made it a thing. So, have any of us actually read Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point book?
I did read it.
I know. No.
No, I read Outliers.
Is Outliers the one about David and Goliath? Forgot. I
I can't
read
remember.
pretty much all his book, but I've been kind of mixed in my mind now. I've got like just a bunch of good stories which I forgot. Like
And
I
his
don't
last
remember
books,
any of his books.
right?
I swear I read his book. I just don't can remember any of them.
And his last book sucked. But if Dan Martell was here, he'd tell us, you know, how the 5 minute coffee he had with um, Malcolm Gladwell in between seeing Richard Branson
Hmm.
and everyone else led to realization of how to do holding companies. But so no, I think back to this conversation point of I don't know, the chemicals in my brain or whatever's going on. I feel excited today, and I'm kind of committing to things and um, going to New York next week. Um, Gonna go for yep. The apartment's open. Booked the flight. I do not have a return flight as of yet. Um,
Nice.
so we'll see. Yeah. And I committed to another year of Tectalia. Um, but and it's going to be in Florence. And I just got off with the president of innovation for the Florentine region. It was so weird. I'll tell this quick story and then let's actually get into the podcast. But this is where I think is an interesting story of how things work and tipping point and what gets you excited. Um, so last week I was committing to Tectile. I said, okay, put the deck out on Friday. Put a group chat out to all of our like community members. I think we have 100, 200 plus people, and I was like, Tectile is happening, and it's October 4th through 6th in Florence. And I spoke to a guy who said, okay, I'm going to introduce you to the president of innovation for the Tuscan region. And I'm like, okay, well, I need help every year. It's the same thing. I need help with museum visits, venue, dinner, etc. So I get on the call today. I'm wearing my Elton John shirt, right? And I'm like, shit, am I on the wrong call or whatever? It was the Zoom call. I kid you not. There's 6 people in this room, and it was like a very government looking room. And the guy who's the director of innovation, he's younger than all of us. He's like 28. Um, and he's leading the meeting. And like there's all these older people around him. And and I texted him, I said, are we in the right meeting? I'm like, is it because he didn't tell me there's gonna be and this was like their staff meeting this morning. And I said, well, here's what Tectalia is, here's what we're working on. And he goes, why don't we do it at our space? We have a beautiful palazzo right in the center of Florence. And I'm like, okay. Um, and he's like, and we'll email the museum and we'll email this guy and we're close with the US consulate here. So we'll get them involved and just tell us what you need. We're here to help. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and we'll help sponsor everything. So you don't have to worry about the venue costs or whatever. I don't know. It just got me excited. It was like last year, I literally had to pull teeth to get something done in Venice. In Milan, I had so much anxiety and then, Rome was the easiest, but it felt good. That's all I'm saying. It felt like
That's
some
awesome.
I mean,
progress.
that's not what you're saying. What I hear is after that you're gonna make another one because now you figured out a way to do it that's easy.
No, 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 no.
Well,
Smells
we'll
like
see.
another one for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I hear, right? I was like, oh, you know what? Like, that's that easy to do
10
Tectalia
more in
every
the
year.
pipeline.
That's great. And then, yeah, I don't buy for 1 second. That's your last one.
Okay, well, it's my last one for the next few years. So,
Sure.
For
Sure.
this year.
I don't know. You
Yeah.
guys can do whatever kind of betting you want for it, but what I want to do is I have this vision of like
No,
I
no.
don't have.
Teddy, I'll bet at least $20 on it. What do you think, Teddy? 20
It's
against me or with
definitely
me? Then it's two
another
against one.
year for sure.
So
I've got
we
these.
both bet against Gabriel.
Yeah.
I like it.
Fine.
Good.
That's so I dominated the first 5 minutes of this podcast, but I think commitment is kind of important, and it's commitment plus tipping point.
hmm Yeah, I
Why
think
am I?
again, like it's a debate we have between all of us, but it's very tempting to copy whatever you think is working. It's like, oh, if you do that, then it's gonna work because when it works, that's what it does. But it's not the way it works. It's the think like a strategist, act like a primitive kind of thing. And whenever you feel like you can commit, you really commit. But if you say you commit and you don't commit, then that means something's broken.
Mhm.
Patience also works. And I was reflecting, I can't remember if I expressed that clearly last week, but I kind of think now that whatever things we think, it's like, oh, I like this guy, or I like this quote, or I like this thing. It's just the echo chamber. It's whatever we believe already. We'll just be following whoever believes the same as us and be like, you see, look, it's successful. That's the way to do it. Um, and I'm, whatever works. But at an abstract level, one thing is certain: it's like no action and nothing will happen. And there's like this phase of you have more experience because we're talking about people post exit. So you have some assets, you have a bunch of things that happened, and and whenever things will align, you will have action and you will know what you do, and so it will happen anyway. It doesn't guarantee success, but no action guarantees failure.
Right, or status quo.
Mm-hmm. And on my end, I'm not at the tipping point yet because we have a different dynamic, but it's kind of the same too. I guess on my end, I've got this thing which is like my baseline, and that's great. Like Electis is doing well, and we had to do a lot of management, realign the team, but things are okay. But that gives me a lot of freedom. Once the team is really good, then like everything is growing, and I'm like super super nice. So I do have to invest a little bit more time than I thought I would need, but we want to be sure everything's good for investors and everything else. But it looks pretty good now. And then I'm starting to have like some good discussion also about the next project. And yesterday I need to call you too, and I can't publicly talk about it yet because I'm still very fuzzy. But I talked to Clint, my former co-founder. I talked to Wayne, which I talked to another friend of mine here, and the 3 times I pitch the idea, people say, "Oh my god, this is great!" And it feels good, like when you start to have like 3 in a row. And so I can't wait to pitch it to you. I'll do that later. But I think I might have a tipping point too.
Yeah, and to be clear, my tipping point, I have not come up with a new idea yet. It's just I'm committing to certain. I'm at least for the first time this year committing to things to do to get me to that point and move forward.
And I guess the big question I have with Teddy right now is, should I buy an Apple Vision Pro or not? And I'm still not sure. Kind of go back and forth on that.
It depends if the idea is connected to building something, yes. Otherwise, for entertainment,
that's the issue.
no.
Is you and I are able to convince ourselves that it's kind of reverse. It's like I might convince myself to get one just so I build an idea around it, but I don't know which one came first.
No,
Anyway.
I'm not. I don't think it's the right time.
I know it's the wrong way. I know it's the wrong way.
Yeah, if you have something in particular that you want to work on, sure.
No, but that's the thing. I can rationalize it. I'm like, oh, it looks really cool, but it's kind of useless.
I went through that last week and the week before.
But then I'm like, how many people are developing on that? It's like the iPhone back in the days, and at one point, everybody will develop on it. So maybe, let's just do an app on it, and it can be crappy. It doesn't matter. And,
that could work.
And then suddenly you justify it, and then you're like, oh, let's put some AI on it, and like blah, blah. And anyway.
But do you have the time to put into exploring and building and stuff?
I mean, I can make the time if it's commitment, but I need some crappy idea or whatever. Like, so that's why I was pinging you.
He can't make our intro. He can't make
brainstorm
the intro.
on something fun.
Yeah.
I will make it. Jesus, I was focused. I've been focused on we've been through a lot last week. It's been an intense week, but today I feel confident. It was pretty good.
it's a good approach to buy the Vision Pro if you have the time. And I can easily fool myself into buying one, thinking that I'm going to build something, but in reality, I just don't have the time, and I intentionally wouldn't buy it right now. It will just create another distraction at this point. It's probably a good time to get into building apps for Vision Pro, but yeah, you can only do so much with the time.
I agree.
Yeah.
But me, I have time. It's just I don't know what to fill it with. I mean, I didn't have time like right now, but I'm gonna have more time in the next couple of months, for sure.
And
also, sorry, I've got another commitment, right, which is getting married, and that takes a lot of time.
yeah.
So right now, a lot of my work is working with Julia all weekend on doing paperwork, figure out translation, figure out, so that's also why I didn't do a video. It's of my wedding or video, guys. I'm sorry.
Excuses.
Or spending 30 to 40 minutes in small chunks, a minute each, of thinking about the Apple Vision Pro. I'm certainly not getting it because I want to wait.
Come on, Tectalia will have to be about Vision Pro and spatial computing and whether you'll have to talk about it.
Sure. We talked about it last year, so again, we'll have to talk about it this year.
I kind of want to come to Tectalia with my Vision Pro and be like that,
You should.
It's not going to be cool by October. Now's the time.
Damn it.
Yeah, although
it will be cool in Italy. No, it will be cool in Italy. It will be cool in Italy.
Exactly.
It's fine. It's not cool in SF anymore. By the way, you saw they burned the whatever self-driving car.
Yeah,
it's like France.
People.
Yeah, it was one of my predictions last year when I spoke at a meetup, and I say we'll see this year the first, massive layoff due to AI or people starting to really be pissed at it.
I mean,
and
that's
Taiwan.
not a hard prediction to make. Okay, Taiwan is the more outlier one. We'll see if it happens. But that AI prediction, everybody can make that prediction. Because
Taiwan, it's like when you see Sam raising, whatever $7 trillion to bring back, CPU manufacturing to
where do you get seven?
Kind of see it.
Where do you?
Is it 7 trillion? How much he said?
It's 7 trillion, but where does he get? Where does he get the 7 trillion from? It's just not. I mean,
the only reasonable place to get it is from the government, I think, at this point. If the government just wants to solely produce stuff,
he kind of made a better version of my quick pitch, which was bring back jobs in America, with manufacturing. It's like, well, Taiwan is going to be messy, and we need to make our own chips, and then he must have been, that's how many chips we need to make. That's how much it costs to build a plant, and and blah blah, and then 7 trillion.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be challenging to get $7 trillion from the government during an election year. So, I mean, it's globally too. He was looking in the sovereigns as well, and I mean, you look at how much money the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia has. It's not $7 trillion.
Yeah.
So
I kind of like it because when you raise $1 million now or $2 million, you're like, oh, what is that? We should go 400 right away.
No, I thought it was amazing. I mean, it's a Sam Altman play. I mean, maybe I do the ghetto version of that, where I was like, I don't want to raise 3 million for a startup. Let me go raise 300 million and do a SPAC. So, I mean, it's why it's been hard for me. And this is a post-exit thing, which totally fits into tipping point and commitment, is for all of us is what we commit and work on next. You don't want to just do the same old small stuff. I mean, Frank's trying to solve voting in Venezuela and Nigeria, Mexico. Yeah,
we had we're talking to Mexico. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Teddy, longevity, and me. I don't know. I mean, exactly. So no, me, I want to either take over companies, turn around, or do growth by acquisition. So we're all part of this PEF group. I don't know if you saw, and Frank doesn't get these. He's still not part of the Signal group.
It's on my to-do list.
What I love about Frank and his to-do list is I'm pretty certain our video intro is at the bottom below the Signal.
I'm pretty certain there's no list at all. It's just
there's no list.
Yeah,
there is a list.
Made it up. Sure. Show it right now. My lists are here. Yeah. Have a bunch of lists here. Where's
I cannot share my screen, but it's on my reminder app.
Sure.
There's
Okay.
119 reminders.
That's just,
But it makes me feel good to put it there. I'm like, if I put it in a reminder, then it's just like, oh, that's good. I tracked it. It's fine.
I would just get anxiety. I mean,
Yeah.
I do have
um,
anxiety.
but yeah, so look, I think there's stages of tipping point and commitments. And where I wanted to
And you feel
focus
like
on,
hold on, because you feel you're in the middle of one. So how does it feel?
yeah, so I feel good. I was very, very I was very depressed and miserable for the last 2 weeks. Obviously, I went to Utah skiing. That was amazing. And Paris was incredible. But then you get back to Florida and it's just boring here. I don't see anybody. I don't. And then I said, okay, I need to spend some time in New York. I need to spend some time in San Francisco. And I'm like, the two projects that reach out to me to pay me, both of them have disappeared. Like, you know, so I how does it feel now? Like that I committed to something and moving forward feels good. I'll probably forget again tomorrow, but at least I've got something that I'm working on. Um, and I need to find the income generating thing because if not, I won't have any money. I'll have to sell shares,
And
which I don't want to
and
do.
that's the difficult part, right? I've been through it many times in different versions of it, but it's always hard to find the income thing that's not gonna suck the entrepreneurial part out of it, right? It's like you kind of like, I remember the first time I did that was years ago. It was like 2006, 2005, and I was trying to figure out stuff, and I was like, I'm going to do consulting or whatever. I mean, start something on the side. I'd be the end of the day, and I was like, I had zero energy, nothing. My brain was all into my job, and so it's really
It doesn't
hard to.
work.
It can work, but you really have to structure it, and it's not that easy, right, to crack.
I mean,
And I guess there's two ways, right? One is you put it like, okay, for 6 months I do that job and then I have cash, or the other one is kind of find something where it aligns with what you want to do and there's like a balance.
yeah, but have you
But
ever
yeah,
done that?
I'm doing it now.
Have you? Oh, you're doing it now, but you're not really doing it now because Electus is your own thing. Teddy,
Yeah,
what's going
well,
on with your
that's how I do
microphone?
it. Which is it's a unique approach, but that's what
Yeah,
I've done.
yeah.
I've done it
So,
with Recorp, I've done it with Massive, and that's my way of doing it, which is I hire myself and I figure out stuff, and then I trade I guess power for freedom.
but let's be
It's
clear.
a long process. So it's not an easy one.
It's a long process, and let's be clear that you're starting these companies and you're getting
Mhm.
equity ownership,
Mhm.
um, and it's your company, like,
Mhm.
and you have a team. So it's not like you're saying, okay, let me go. Okay, it's enough with the microphone. I think it's good. It works, doesn't it?
I just
Yeah.
wanted to be like one of those influencers when they just hold their big microphones in the hands. I'm looking at Frank all the time. He is that Gen Z type of person.
I know. It's
But I
like, hey
cannot do
guys,
it.
you see.
I don't know how it
I'm
works.
just waiting for our sponsor to get me a microphone.
But have you
So,
seen how they do it? Like this mic's supposed to be on a stand, right? This is like
Yeah.
the purpose of this
Is that the Rode?
things.
Which one you got?
the
No,
Shure.
this is the Shure.
Oh,
But
sure,
what they do,
sure,
they
sure is
just
good.
hold it like this, so they talk like this. I don't know why. It's just
That's great. I like the audio.
it's
It's
cool because
deeper.
closer, sure.
Oh yeah.
But
Not
what's
don't never talk to it directly. Like you have to talk over it. I think
like
if it's on.
here, this
Yeah,
side,
that's good.
1, 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. A
So
little
I'll just
further,
do it like
but
this.
then that's pretty good. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, so the ink.
Oh, Jesus, Gabriel's voice is awful.
Get a
You
mic.
need a mic. Yeah, get a mic. We need to. We're a professional podcast with soon an introduction that's gonna blow your mind.
I'll get a mic. Which mic should I get?
I don't know. I like
We'll
this one
figure.
because this. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? I'm traveling. I'm in Paris, and my old podcast fit into that.
I mean, it's like $500, right?
Yeah, like 400.
We'll see. I'll get something soon. I whatever. So back to the income
Sure.
conversation. I don't know. I've never been able to uh, get a part-time thing other than starting my own thing. And
Me
I'll
too.
relate this to the tipping point because this at some point you need to make money. Basically, who said, fuck it, I'm just going to work on this idea. It's not even the best idea. And I'm going to do it. And then usually it kind of works out in its own way. Um, and and it's a part of some of the ideas that you're thinking about as well. So that's what I did with Gamma. But I had a conversation with a friend this weekend who's a successful entrepreneur. And he's about 49, has 2 kids, lives in London. He's in the middle of selling his company. And he told me, this is the first time I've ever had an anxiety attack in my life. And he's like, and I'm on my second margarita. And the guy lives a very nice lifestyle in London. The business was super cash flow positive the last few years. And he's selling his stake, whatever, for sub 10 million bucks, something like that. And his co-founder is a total asshole, and is blocking the sale. And he's like, I need to get the sale done by April or whatever, mid-year. And if I don't, we're going to come up with some ideas. He's like, because then I'll be very cash poor. And I was like, okay, well, we can talk about it. But, I thought what was interesting is no matter where you are in the spectrum of entrepreneurship, like there's always these points where you need to focus sort of on the income, and the income plays into the tipping point,
Of course.
the commitment, and deciding on. So there, there's an email, and there's an email that came through for the PEF group today, and a guy was like, I'm post-economic. I've made my money. I've done it. He's like, I don't know what the hell to do with my life. I'm lost. I don't play golf. I have kids. I don't believe in religion. He's like, what should I do? I think the three of us, none of us are in that situation. So to be clear,
no. I've got friends, they don't use the sentence post-economics, but I like that. But yeah, we talked about it. Like when you pass the other side, it looks weirdly, to me, like the conclusion of that thing is it's actually a good thing when you don't have enough cash. It keeps you busy. But I think like it looks like when you pass that orbital, pull, gravitational pull, like towards the money issue, and it looks awful. Like all my friends who go through that, they go through heavy depression, or not all of them, but I would say half of them. Anyway.
Oh, well, and because none of us have experienced that yet, I think
so it's like
I'm not sure I want to.
It's like the midwit meme where on both sides of the spectrum, having a lot of money or not having money, you're miserable. So you got to find your middle there.
Yeah, literally rich people's problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to have that problem. I mean, like, definitely.
I think I know you believe you do, but again, like you have to observe, right? Like, and what I observe is it's an awful problem to have. Like that's why I stay focused on being useful. It feels good. And I don't know, like, sorry, something else I wanted to add also is the market have changed. I mean, a couple of years ago when I was trying to figure out what to do, it's really hard. But now there start to be like some jobs and some stuff where if you're an entrepreneur, this experience is actually looked for, like, is valued. So it might be easier now, to be whatever, an entrepreneur in residence or something. So maybe easier.
I've never met an entrepreneur in residence who's actually done anything afterwards.
Okay.
No, have you?
Have I?
There's like 2 people I know, but like for the most part, that's
yeah. Yeah, a lot of them I think I know end up leading innovation in some big corporation.
Exactly, and what is that? It's like, what is? Yeah, but fine. What do you actually do?
As what? As an entrepreneur in residence?
No, it's leading innovation in a corporation.
Well, I mean, there's different phases. I think the first phase is you're working close to the CEO and everybody hates you. The second phase is the CFO comes to you and say, where's the money? You guys have burned a lot. And I thought it would be ideation, experimentation, and scale. And I've seen the first 2, but not the last one. And then the last one is, okay, you guys going to work with HR and attract cold talent. I think that's like the 3 phases of 10 years of innovation department. If I have to be cruel.
Yeah, and they got enough money and they will start investing and tell other people that they've built all these companies that they help support through innovation, and none of that worked.
They were like, oh my God, like our company have done
work.
like hundreds of billions of dollars of impact. They're like, oh, come on, you're just a logo.
Just to...
so kind of
exactly.
Kind kind of proves our point here. But so if there's any entrepreneurs in residence in the audience listening, let us know if we're full of shit or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
All
We want anyone who can give us a good story of entrepreneurs in residence. That'd be cool. I used to
yes.
call entrepreneurs in residence entrepreneurs in jail. But I mean, maybe one day I'll need to get that job. So
When you're
it kind of
sick.
feels that way, right? It's like, girl, you're an entrepreneur. It's like in residence, but it's like a special building where, oh, let's do that. No, you cannot do that. Did you talk to marketing first? Anyway,
I don't
sorry.
know. Okay,
By the way, sorry,
no.
I've got a great. Sorry if we can diverge a little after, or you want to go for your point, but I wanted to talk about entrepreneurs.
No. Yeah, let's
Because
talk
I
about
just saw there's a great video to watch if you haven't watched it on Veritasium. And by the way, I keep meeting people, like, I don't know if that happens to you, but I've got this specific YouTube I like following, like Free Blue, One Brown, Veritasium, and I've got a cult of entrepreneurs. Every time I meet, they're like, oh, you watch that too, and it's kind of cool. But the last one on Veritasium was about the guy who invented the blue LED. It's a crazy story, and I invite you to watch it, because to me, that's real entrepreneurship. Like the guy, like the boss would it's in Japan, and the guy every week would say, stop to do what you do, and he was like, no, I'm going to keep doing it. It's crazy. He created billions and $100 billion+ industry, and he got paid shit. Anyway, amazing story. So watch it. The invention of
Cool.
blue LED. And
Okay, so now
and now he works in San Francisco, and he works on what? On micro LED. And where do you find micro LED? In the new Apple Vision Pro. That's
true.
so this guy's amazing. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur to be, to do impact. You can be an entrepreneur.
Be useful, yeah. True.
Teddy, what do you think? Tipping point, commitment. What's like?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts from our psycho conversations?
A couple thoughts. One is, last week I felt that I'm past the tipping point phase. Not just past the. Yeah, I'm totally down now. But this was last.
I checked, and now my face is against the.
About Thursday last week or whatever, Wednesday.
The tripping
I don't know.
point.
I just felt happier, and I think that put me in a position to, like, the sort of comfort zone, and I was like, for 2 days, just, wow, this works. And I'm like, okay, I've been trying to get to this point for a very long time, and I'm finally there. And today, this morning also started great, but just before the recording of the episode, I don't know, some things that I cannot really share, but it's just like it put me so down now. I'm like, was that really me on the other side, or?
It's funny how everybody was down last week, and it looks like this week all of us are doing pretty good.
No, I wasn't down last week. It was pretty good. I'm the opposite.
He's down now.
Okay, never mind.
Now. He's not
so
feeling
it's
good
counter.
now.
So I'm not sure if I was past that tipping point, or it was just in my mind, or I got too comfortable too fast, which I don't know what I did wrong, but I just don't feel as good as last week. And the decisions that I've made are not in, I don't know if there's voice coming out from back, but anyways. So I don't know if it's just like my perception of it, or I just got like too anxious too fast, or too comfortable too fast. So I'm still in that processing phase right now, whether I'm past that phase or these commitments were wrong, and I need to revisit some decisions. I don't know. I'm happy that I moved. I made couple steps.
Nothing's wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be like,
Yeah. I made a couple moves. Definitely, that's progress. But just like this morning's feeling, it just sucks.
It's always about people, and I love hate Paul Graham. I mean, I like the guy. He's like amazing founder. I love the researcher, and I used to program on Lips like a long time ago. But he tweeted something today he retweeted something today that was very cruel and yet interesting, where he said he was retweeting a guy that says no one ever regretted firing someone, and then he said it's crazy or close to true. This statement, as blunt as it is true. And so I don't think there's wrong commitment or whatever, but like it goes back to whenever you identify something bad as a commitment or as a relation or whatever, just cut it and it's fine.
Yeah, but how do you go about having that time that you invested into that relation or business or whatever decision, and
Lesson
the time
learned.
is not minimal, and maybe this whole little thing that happened this morning is just one of, I mean, it did not happen before.
Yeah, I don't know. We can go into the details, but if we talk general, like in a general point of view, I guess there's two things. There's, and again, I can find as many quotes as counterexample to everything. So there would be the Steve quote, Steve Jobs, which would say what he've learned from Next is that you have to invest in people in a long time. It's kind of what I'm trying to think now with Electis, where it's like things are not great, but you're like, okay, it can become great, and so I'm going to go towards that. That's number one. And then you've got the what's his name? The island slash Virgin.
Richard
Branson.
And then you've got the Richard Branson quote, which is, it's better to have a hole in your team than an asshole. And so if we're talking about people, I think there's the two approach. And my general thing is, if it's tactical, it's fine. You can always fix it. If it's someone not doing the right thing or blah, blah. And if it's cultural, or if it's like the way people behave, then you're fucked. It's never going to change. I guess I don't know what you think about it. That's kind of my general thing. It's not, you cannot change the nature of people, and it doesn't mean the person is right or wrong. But you can be like, if someone is not doing the job the right way, then you can be like, hey, I'm expecting that kind of outcome, and that's fixable. But if it's a general like bad dynamics or whatever, or bad commitment or bad culture or cultural misalignment, because again, everybody's nice, like it's like, then I can't find an example where it was not a good decision to realize that. It's always, I used to say, I forgot that, but I used to say, I didn't like the quote, fail fast. And I always tell people, like, it's stupid, like no one wants to fail fast, like you want to be successful. But what I always say is you want to realize you're failing fast. And so that can apply to people, that can apply to whatever you're doing. And so, I guess that's the question is, are you failing, or is it a blip? And then you can dive into that. And if it's a failure, whether it's a person or a choice or a strategy, then just get it and try to take some learning.
I think most
to Gabriel, but we had these discussions years ago, I remember.
No,
right. Most of it is just shorter blip. It's just something quick, but then it triggers my experiences from the past. I'm like revisiting stuff. I don't know. It's just maybe one-off. But yeah, that's my general think about the tipping point and commitment.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I wouldn't trust.
Great.
I wouldn't trust the past too much, because patterns are made to be broken. Anyway, we'll talk more about it. But on my end, what I do is, at least I try to work with a team. I'm not good at working alone. And so whenever I've got an issue or some question about stuff, I talk to my co-founder, and if both of us agree, we're like, okay, this is not an hallucination. It's hard when you're alone, but at least if you're 2 or 3 people confirm, then you're like, hey, I'm not crazy, and it should be addressed.
I agree with Frank and his points. I don't have anything controversial to say here, and I also think when you have another person, it really depends where you are in the process as well. So if you have a co-founder that you both are committed, and committed, whatever the definition of that is, put money in, raise money, then yes, you can actually have that conversation and be like, hey, this is working or this is not working. But if you're still in this kind of messy middle, like we are, and you're figuring it out, I think it just gets messy, and you have to see it over a few more instances to know if your judgment's right or not.
That's a good point. There's also, you remember, like the up and down, and that's why I say I like co-founders. Like, you're in the down right now, and you realize you're in a down. So the first thing I would do is I would not work today. I'll go watch a movie theater, walk outside, whatever makes you happy. And as soon as you feel better, then re-ask yourself that question, because you don't want to make a decision that's influenced by your current state of mind.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
go have fun.
Yeah. My experience early on in the SPAC, and this is the only time I experienced this with co-founders, other than way later in the process. But we brought in these 2 guys who my chairman wanted to have involved, and they were, in the beginning, okay, but I realized very early on they were assholes, like real assholes. I've never dealt with somebody, and like, my assumption is this is what Wall Street's like. And that's how I assumed it. But then I realized, no, it's not. It's not totally like that. Like, maybe maybe the guys who snort coke and like go down, ski slopes naked all the time. But these, I remember I've never received a text message from somebody saying like, if you do this, we're gonna fucking pull out. And then they tried to pull like, and that was like the first instance. And I called my team and I said, look, I can't work with these people that are really rude to me. And they said, no, we need them. You have to work with them. Fast forward a month, um, they tried to pull a coup, and they sent a document around to everybody, not thinking like I would not see the document that listed all of the people that were on the SPAC team except for me. And they said, well, we don't want to work with the SPAC unless, Gabriel's not involved. And because they knew that I knew that they were kind of like sketchy, and my team was like, they called me and they said, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, duh, what do you think I'm going to do? Get these guys out. And because they took so long, because we worked with them for so long and it took us so long to fire them, I think that fundamentally is why we missed the market opening and closing. If we did not have that month with them or 2 months with them, we would have gone out into the market earlier. So it's a big learning for me of moving faster, but also when you feel like there's an element of the team or an element of something that's bringing you down, and it's
trust your guts.
You got to trust your gut. And this one was not just once, it was once, twice, 3 times. And I could vividly remember being on the plane, the guy texting me, we're pulling out, da 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 da, and like freaking out. Like I was flying on the ski trip to my dad. It was like 3 years ago. So I agree with Franco. Take the day. You got to do something. You're in New York. Do something cultural. Go on a walk. Go look at the Morgan Library down the street from you and see Morgan's office. And he had a big nose and he had rosacea on his nose, and he never liked anybody taking a photo of him or painting him because he had such a big nose. And you don't realize, you think JP Morgan's such a influential guy and everything else, but he was extremely embarrassed of his features.
Self-aware.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good advice definitely to take the day off or just do something totally different. I'm not in that spot, fortunately. It's just compared to last week and the tipping point conversation. But these are all great thoughts, I think, in general.
I guess the idea is you have tipping points and you've got the fake tipping points where you're like, oh yeah, God, it's a tipping point. That's it. Oh fuck, it's not. And it's part of it. It's
that's definitely part of a messy middle.
It's like product market fit. It's like, fuck yeah, product market fit. I'm like, oh no, just a blip, And so there's going to be many fake tipping point, FTP.
Yeah. I'm definitely 100%.
Sorry, by the way, you should manage expectation. I guess you'll be like, I have a tipping point event. It's a TPE. Should build because my consulting thing.
Yeah.
Have to build a framework around the messy middle.
Exactly.
All this terminology and stuff.
It's a potential tipping point.
He's a consultant.
It's a PTP.
He doesn't have enough
it's a PTP,
time except for watching these videos, blue LEDs and stuff.
But a PTP doesn't have to be a real TP, So,
or obsessing over the app.
I hope that will be the part that will go on the podcast. Like a PTP cannot be a real TP, It's a potential tipping point. Very important.
Look, my feeling is
like Albert Einstein used to say, you don't know if it's a tipping point, unless you follow your guts. I'm pretty sure he said something like that. Yeah.
100%.
I want to become more of an influencer. We need to have fake quotes.
Just call Dan Martell. So
no, I love Dan. Dan's amazing. He's doing his business, doing well. Love you, Dan.
Of course he's doing well. Yeah, love Dan. Love Dan. Okay, I'm gonna do the quote this week because I think we're at time.
My Chinese quote.
Okay, do the Chinese quote, Frank.
No, we'll do one.
No.
But we have room for many quotes. You do yours.
Obstacles and challenges are the agents of growth. Nobody gets to be large and in charge without facing challenges and moving through them.
Said that?
About
Nobody. It's just this weekly count.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it means. I'm trying to find a counter example to that. Like
I want your Chinese quote because it's Happy Lunar New Year, everybody.
Yeah,
that's why I want
dragons.
something Chinese. Yeah, Happy Dragons Year. It's the one I shared, and I don't think I don't think it's Lao Tzu or something like that. So I don't know if it's anyone to quote, but the Chinese quote says, 20 years ago that was the right time to plant the tree. Now is the second best time. I like that quote. It's a fun quote.
Yeah. I read the comments on the reel that you shared.
Oh, what was it? What did they say? They bitch. They bitch about it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. But it's fine. It's fine. I mean, all quotes are bullshit.
Okay,
But I
so
like it.
my time for quote, Nietzsche.
Yes. Oh.
To live is to
Already
suffer. No, let me finish it. To live is
Of
to
course.
suffer. To
I know
survive
that.
is to find some meaning in the suffering.
No, yeah, of course.
That goes back to the passion and stuff, and back to
That's
Game Deals one.
and it's funny. It's the book I'm reading right now, which is the Le Gai Savoir. I don't know how to translate in English. It's like the happy knowledge. That's from
It's
this
true.
book.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's a brutal. That's a bastardization of the quote, but yeah.
Mhm.
The Uberman, Ubermensch, Uberman.
I mean, you can dive into this idea that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I guess the idea is experience makes you, less prone to fail twice.
Yeah.
I mean, this
And
sentence is
also,
the equivalent of "fool me twice." It's like you're already been, you remember the suffering. You will not, or whatever. It's like you put you're a kid and you put your hand on some hot flame. You will not do it twice. Made you stronger.
unless you're a masochist and you like to do it, and whatever. Talk to you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.